Hey everyone, Viper here with another guide for Beyond the Wire. With the help of the community, I decided it was time to start looking at other specialized sections, which are usually limited to one or two total sections on the battlefield. There's definitely an intimidation factor to trying these specialized sections out, especially when you know there's only one or two your team gets to use. Today, we're going to check out the heavy machine gun section and learn everything you need to know, plus some extra tips and tricks that will help make you an unstoppable force. Even if you're a Beyond the Wire veteran, I highly encourage you to check this out because you never know what you might learn. Before we hop into it though, I make videos here on my channel and stream on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Gaming. I would very much appreciate a follow or a sub on whatever platforms you prefer if you'd like to see more Beyond the Wire content, and thank you to everyone who has shown support in some way already. First, let's look at our section. If you plan on creating this HMG section and trying it out, I highly recommend you check out my section leader guide, linked at the end of this video if you haven't already. We're going to go over things which require some prior knowledge of game mechanics and will help you be a better leader. Each HMG section has an NCO and a crew member. You can always choose the right section by seeing the icon on the left, and it's a heavy machine gun. On the screen right now are the different names for the sections under each faction, just in case you want to be sure. Good news, you have an HMG section, you're the section leader, and you're ready to rock. So how do you place down an MG? Use your radial menu by holding down T, mouse over the center circle, which has your MG's name, and click. This will show a transparent build option. It will be blue if you're able to build in that location, and red if you're not. To build your emplacement, hold down your interaction key. So where do you place it? The short answer is close to the front line to accurately fire, but not close enough where you can easily be flanked by the enemy. Ideally, you find a nice open area which allows you to traverse and use your field of fire a bit behind the carnage. An effective MG section is all about positioning. Ask yourself where you can be the most effective. Since there can only be one or two emplaced MG sections, you're not doing anyone any favors by limiting yourself to one choke point. For example, on Zonabeka, these long trench lines are a great choke point, and I'm sure it would be a slaughter if a section met you face to face. But the large disadvantage here is your field of fire is extremely limited, and the enemy team can easily move to a different avenue of approach if they know there's an MG emplacement there. Instead, you might be a bit more exposed, but your field of fire will be much more useful on top of the trenches. You can swing your gun more than a few degrees, use that to your advantage. Finally, if your position has been compromised, it's always better to move your MG emplacement instead of trying to stick it out and hope your situation improves. To destroy your emplacement, click the T key and hit Destroy Oldest Deployable. This will allow you to build another one in a different location. You can only build one at a time. If your gut tells you to move after being sniped or shelled a few times by artillery, do it. You're not doing yourself or your team any favors by continuing to die the same way. Now that you've found a great location for your MG, you can shoot your HMG by left-clicking and aim down your sights with your right mouse button. Once you're through your ammo belt or clip, tap the R button to reload. Reload times and clip sizes vary on the gun, and I'll go into specific differences in a bit. Some things to keep in mind: you'll want to fire in short, controlled bursts to keep your ammo consumption low and accuracy high. You do have unlimited ammo, but the last thing you want is to fire your entire belt in one go and be stuck reloading while a section starts moving in the open. Another thing you'll want to be careful about is friendly fire. Players' nameplates don't appear above their heads, especially at long distances. Verify it's actually an enemy before unloading by looking at their helmet and uniform. If you do accidentally TK, it's polite to say you're sorry in the team text chat. If you're the MG section leader, you have access to binoculars, which allow you to observe enemy movement and create markers using your radial menu. Whenever I'm selling in an MG section, I'm always looking into my binocs and marking targets or creating attack markers spotting enemies for the gunner. When looking through MG sites, you don't nearly have as good of a view. I know it's not as fun as burning through belts and killing enemies, but the MG sections have worked best together have the SL as a spotter, using their binoculars, marking targets, and the crewman mounted on the MG traversing and firing at marks. Sometimes you can be alone in your MG section, and that's alright. In that case, you'll roll solo and still have a good time, but you'll be the most effective when someone else is with you, and you're each playing your role and communicating effectively. Over-communication is better than no communication. There are 4 different types of emplaced MGs: the German and Harlem Hellfighters MG08, the CEF's Potato Digger, the Vickers used by the AEF and BEF, and the French Hotchkiss used by the French. The MG08 is the main German and Harlem Hellfighters machine gun. It holds 100 rounds, and reloading the belt takes about 9 seconds. The first ever MG added to Beyond the Wire, this is a classic. It sits in a fairly protective bunker and can pump out a lot of rounds with a standard reload time. The only downside is the sight picture being hard to see, but you can just dip the gun lower and lift it up when you're ready to shoot and have your target. In my opinion, it's the best MG emplacement in the game, and best to learn the HMG section on because of the protection and large belt size. The M1895 Potato Digger is the Canadian MG and one of the newest additions to the game. It's belt-fed and holds 100 rounds. To reload, it's around 9 seconds. The gun itself and sight are decent, but the underwhelming bunker leaves much to be desired. It's a smaller profile, but more open than others. You can easily be taken out by some accurate rifle shots or rifle grenades, making your match much more difficult. The Vickers is used by the American Expeditionary Force and the British Expeditionary Force. It holds 100 rounds and takes 9 seconds to reload. It currently shares the same bunker design with the Potato Digger, which makes it a bit harder to play because you're left a little bit more exposed. Finally, the Hotchkiss M1914, used by the French, is a clip-fed MG. The clip holds 24 rounds, but has a speedy-ish reload time of 3.5 to 4 seconds, less than half the time it takes to reload others. The short clip is a bit comical, especially when you're trying to put shots down range, and every 24 rounds you need to reload, but it makes accurate fire that much more important. The bunker is similar to the MG08 and offers decent protection as a whole. Finally, the best way you can learn is joining an MG section that's already created or creating one if you're an experienced SL. If you play enough, you'll get the feel on most maps what the best spots are for laying down hate on the enemy. There's going to be a lot of trial and error when finding the perfect spot, and like I said before, this section is all about positioning. The worst thing you can do is be stubborn and refuse to move your emplacement when you're compromised. Always adapt and be ready to change your plan if things go sideways. That's it for today, and hopefully this guide was helpful. If you have any questions or anyone else has any other tips or tricks on how to effectively play the HMG section, comment below. Don't forget to check out my other Beyond the Wire tutorials and more as they come out in the future. See you guys next time.